a farewell test. I think it's every player's dream who have played for so long for their country and have done so well. To get that guard of honor, to get that acknowledgement, to get that honor when they're almost at the twilight of their career. David Warner is set to play his last test match for Australia in this upcoming series against Pakistan. But it seems like there is some controversy surrounding his last test match because the way Mitchell Johnson has scathingly targeted David Warner's farewell test, questioning the selectors as well as the player himself. So I have Akshay and Saurav joining me today, and we'll be discussing as to what this entire Mitchell Johnson, George Bailey, and David Warner controversy is all about. And I'm going to start off with Akshay first. Akshay, we have seen that David Warner was in fantabulous form in this recently concluded ODI World Cup, and even his performance against Pakistan in test matches has also been brilliant. But Mitchell Johnson has first of all questioned David Warner for his current form. So we're gonna start slowly with that as to what exactly Mitchell Johnson had to say. The first thing that he questioned was the form. What do you think about him questioning his form?
See, it hardly happens in Indian cricket circles, right? A former player writing a column and scathing remarks. It is not just questioning someone's place in the side, it's beyond that. Yes, because of the way Mitchell Johnson wrote that copy, the tone of that copy, which he has addressed later, the tone of the copy, the column that he wrote for the Australian publication was, never seen before. And ahead of this test series, it was a sleepy build-up to Australia, Pakistan, knowing that Australia are heavily favourites in the upcoming 3 test series. But this has provided the much needed spark for the Australian home season that was about to start. For more context to our viewers, Mitchell Johnson questioned why a player like David Warner would deserve a farewell match, considering his form. He said, someone who has been struggling to hold his place in the side, why does he get to choose his exit date? And then comes the very controversial part, or very opinionated part, where Johnson says David Warner has been part of most cricketing scandals in the recent past, and he brought back that infamous ball tampering issue, saying that he questions Warner's credibility, saying that why a player of such stature will get a farewell match and will get to choose his farewell date. Although I agree with the previous part, saying that yes, a player who has been struggling, why would you allow him to, influence his own future in the test squad? If you look at it, Australia are playing only their second series in this World Test Championship cycle. After the Ashes, this is their second series, and every test now, unlike before, will hold some importance towards that major goal. In such a scenario, I think Johnson's question of David Warner's form is absolutely right, but I don't agree with that sandpaper gate scandal. I think Saurabh also has a similar view in terms of bringing up that sandpaper gate scandal, that ball tampering scandal again after 5 years. What, Saurabh?
Yeah. Definitely. You see, Mitchell Johnson again came up saying that Warner had sent a personal message to him, which actually prompted him to take this tone in his article for the Australian publication. But if you ask me, yes, Warner has not been able to replicate his ODI success in Test cricket in last 1 year. He has, I think, averaged around 28-29. But on the other part, if you see, you can't punish a player for something he did 5 years ago. He was banned for 1 year. He was banned for leadership role for his lifetime. He got a lifetime ban, and now he has come up. And if you see, so everywhere he goes, he's respected. He's adored by cricket fans, former cricketers. You see Pakistan captain Shan Masood, the test captain, he has come out and said, we respect Warner, he is a true gentleman, and the way he has been a proper brand ambassador for the game across the world, we respect him. Although he has also come up with his plans to how he is going to trouble Warner in his farewell series. I agree with whatever Johnson says about the form criteria. Definitely, when you are playing for a team like Australia, who won the WTC Championship, the World Cup, and then they are vying for this World Test Championship cycle final also, you want best of the best players who are in form, and there are a lot of players who have performed extremely well in Australian domestic cricket. they deserve a chance. But you can't come up and say that, oh, this guy was part of some scandal, so let's not give him a chance. Warner has done his due. Come on, let's get over that scandal. Too much of talk about that. I mean, if you ask me.
And as you mentioned, Saurav, about getting over thing, see, as we also mentioned that we're going to unfold slowly as to what all has been happening around this controversy. So Mitchell Johnson recently spoke on his podcast where he mentioned that back in April maybe, he wrote a column where he yet again questioned David Warner for his form. And that's when David Warner, as you also mentioned, Saurav, he's a gentleman, but doesn't seem so in the eyes of Mitchell Johnson, honestly, because he said that he sent him a very particular message which didn't really go down well with Mitchell Johnson, and that actually propelled him, that triggered him, that sparked him to write that column in that particular tone against Warner after 7 to 8 months, let's say. And Akshay, what do you think? As this controversy seems to be really building up, even we saw Candice Warner also coming in support, as she has always been supportive of her husband. She has also come for David Warner's support. Even David Warner's teammates, if we say Usman Khwaja and Glenn Maxwell, have come down for Maxwell's support. So what do you think about it?
See, like both of you mentioned, there was that tone, there was that personal message that he didn't like and all that. But you can't keep that in your mind when you're writing, when you're doing something professional, right? Yes, Saurabh and I have had disagreements, you and I have had disagreements, but we can't bring that when it affects our work. And to Johnson's credit, he accepted in that podcast that yes, maybe I took a different tone for this article and I brought up, and he also mentioned that he's new to this business of writing columns. Yes, he has always been a cricketer who has kind of fearlessly, tortured opposition batters. But when he gets into such a new role, he himself has acknowledged it. I think it's time to move on from all this. There is, yes, like Saurabh said, Warner deserves a farewell. Someone who has played 100 tests. It's sad that someone like Ishant Sharma isn't getting one back home. But I think Warner deserves that farewell test, and it's time to move on from all this. Yeah, 3 tests against Pakistan. Pakistan are also promising brand new baseball avatar of test cricket. So we should just focus on cricket. Yeah, enough of controversy. We've had some during the World Cup. Let's get to the purest form of cricket. Australia, Pakistan is going to be fun. Let us make sure that, let people around Warner make sure that he gets a good farewell, good send-off.
And Saurav, do you have anything to add on to that?
No, definitely, I agree with whatever Akshay said, Abhi. Definitely, see, David Warner, as a player, if you see his test record against Pakistan, he has a phenomenal test record, average over 85, and when he plays at home against Pakistan, he's a different beast altogether. Last time when he played against Pakistan at their home, he scored his only triple century in test cricket. So David Warner would be hoping to shut down every controversy by scoring truckload of runs in this 3-match test series and sign out on a very positive note. That is what I believe David Warner would be hoping to do.
So we can definitely say that David Warner should let his bat do the talking, and the focus should be on cricket rather than the controversy. But what I feel is that Australia and controversy go hand in hand, and that's what we have been seeing. And this ball tampering saga, this sandpaper gate, seems like it still continues to haunt the Australian cricket, something that happened back in 2018. And I think that's about it on this very segment with me, Diya Kakkar, along with Akshay and Saurav, signing off for India Today Digital.